Good evening, Rebel fans. This is Superfed TV coming at you with the Week 2 action from Division 5. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and kick things off with our wonderful intro video, courtesy of Herenzod. Alright, and let's jump into it. This week we have The Secret of My Success, which is an Orc team playing against the Templars of Aurora, who are Highelves. In the head-to-head matchup, the strength is going to go heavily in favor of the Orc team, while the Highelves are going to have all the agility and movement they need to play around the ball and dodge out of the Orcs' way. As long as the Orcs are able to punish those High Elves and land hits upon them, they should get a numbers advantage over time. They also start out with an extra player on the bench, so if there is the occasional Orc removal, it shouldn't impact the game as much as a High Elf removal is going to impact things on their side. High Elves do start with a lack of skills, and it's still apparent at this point in the season, with only 2 block pieces. They do have a little bit of extra amount of dodge, but it's pretty standard for Orcs to start with block advantage. Both teams are going to be pretty equal on sure hands, and while I didn't get it onto the matchup screen, there are 2 babes for the Orc side. So again, if the High Elves do manage to remove an Orc piece, they're probably going to be coming back onto the pitch very easily. Take a look at the teams. First, we have Templars of Aurora. You can see there are some injuries already on this High Elf team that's only in week 2 of play. And that's not unheard of. High Elves are very expensive and tough to replace. And this is the star player, Leo. He has an extra movement speed. And as he levels up, we would look for him to be a 1-turn threat. On the Orc team, Troll has already gotten a level up and has guard. And the MNG is actually a result of this game. So we'll take a look at that as that happens. The star player here is Solo Vexer, and he has dodge, which is great for a level up 1, or the first level that you get on a blitzer when you're an Orc coach. If it's a double like that, taking dodge makes him very hard to take down. He can become a ball carrier a little bit as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the match as I get this pulled up here. There we go. Perfect. Both of these coaches are still, I don't know if Hipster is new to the league, but take a look at that. The match is being played at the High Elf Stadium, and here they are. It's Hipster. I'm going to say that wrong so many times. Hipster. And the Orc team, The Secret of My Success, coached by Rusty Seabutter. That may be a new coach to the REL. I don't recognize that name from last season. The Orc whites, I gotta say, are very uncommon. Usually you see the green uniforms for the Orc teams. And it looked to me like the Highelves won the toss there, so they have elected to kick the ball and defend, forcing the Orcs to go first here. And after juggling around a couple formations, it looks like the High Elves have decided on a wide formation here. I would actually say that that is a little close to the line, so they might be well positioned for a blitz. However, if the Elves wanted to apply pressure to one side of the pitch, they could really put a smackdown onto these Elves here. Changing weather nice is one of the least eventful kickoffs that you can have. Ball bounces an extra square. No big deal. Good kick. A very odd setup from the Orcs. Normally, when you're an Orc coach, you want to get as many of these hits on the line of scrimmage as possible, and they're really only positioned for one hit and one blitz. I don't know why they would shortchange themselves. But they do get a knockout on a dodge piece right off the bat, so that's going to be very helpful to the Orc team. This Black Orc goes backwards off the line of scrimmage. And so they're going to set up a very deep cage. Very conservative and defensive from the Orc coach. If he was against Wood Elves with like a strip ball, well, even then it wouldn't matter because the sure hands. Yeah, I don't really like this conservative of a setup from the Orcs, but here comes the blitz. And the knockdown. Armor does not break there. The High Elves are going to be doing what's looks like a stalling tactic, which is very common for the Elves. There's a couple ways you can play defense. This is the safer route, which is to stall the cage. You just set up your elf pieces too deep, like you've got here, too deep, with a gap of 2 spaces between the two, so you can't run between them. You can often give them a sideline to kind of force them and pin them against a wall. And then this blitz onto the strength 4 is why they put so many pieces together here. Normally you wouldn't want this many elves all in one spot, but they wanted to get that blitz onto the Black Orc. Unfortunately, they only got a push. The failed dodge, not going to get re-rolled. But this is a good screen. They're not going to be able to move the ball up very far on the Orc team this turn. Troll goes ahead and gets right in the middle of this group here to mark everybody up. Another lineman goes down. This one only a stun. The guard piece, a little bit exposed, but we do a 1-die pow onto the blodge. And another armor break. That was an interesting choice there to do a 1-die. He could have done that as a 2-die. I think that was a bit of a misclick, probably. And you can see the cage here moves up only about 2 squares, so not a lot of progress, but it's still very early in the half, so he's got plenty of time to get up the field. And this blitzer's coming around the backside, giving him options. So both these blitzers, I don't really like that. Being this spread out, these guys are really not a part of the play. The threat of the Orc pass is pretty low. A greedy reroll from the High Elf coach here to try and knock down this troll, but that fails. And that reroll is punished by a 1-die skull. Ooh, very punished. An injury onto the guard piece, that is going to set the Elf team back. Really, that guard piece is an equalizer in a lot of ways. It allows you to get 2-die blocks against these Orcs, and now they're just not going to have that option. I might have considered appoing that, and right away after that injury is another knockout. So already 3 elves off the pitch on only turn 3. That is some significant damage for the Orc team, and you have to be happy with that. I would have, and I'm going to go ahead and pause it right here, I do not like the positioning after those removals. You've got 3 High Elves already on the ground. You still have your blitz, so you could actually have blitzed this catcher, and then you could have moved your cage up quite a bit. Probably 3 or even 4 spaces. right in the middle of this or around this, and still been completely safe without a hit onto the ball carrier. So I really don't like the decision to only move up one space here. Yeah, there's a ton of time left on the clock, but what I like to do is get my cage as close to the end zone as possible, as soon as possible, and then force the High Elves to come to me, marking me and allowing me basically to either have a free touchdown or get free hits on them and still get the touchdown. So I think that it's very conservative of the Orc coach to not go further up on this turn. But we'll see where he goes with his blitz here. Go ahead and keep those elves marked. He also could have put another piece up here just to really force them into the sideline, and I would have liked that. A blitz onto the AV7 catcher, nothing wrong with that. Doesn't break the armor, but does allow him to get a nice secure position here. The troll doesn't follow up because he does have the really stupid quirk where if he's not next to an orc, he's going to have a very tough time doing an action. High Elves go ahead and do their dodge into a blitz, into a pow, and the orc blitzer goes down. Looks like they're getting the 2-die, yep, onto the black orc here. Gets the pow. If that was a push, that would have been actually pretty dangerous, but not punished. And so now they have another great screen here with staggered elves, basically keeping the orcs pinned and not really able to push up. Again, they're only going to be able to get maybe 1 or 2 squares unless they want to put their cage in contact with elves, which is not a good plan. Blodge doing a thing, keeping the elf on his feet. And there it is, 2 squares up. Barely onto the high elf half. Turn 4. He's got time, so it's still not really in too big of danger, but what can happen is if you just keep getting these little pushes, you're going to be forced and pressured into making bigger risks, and that's when the elves will capitalize. So this is really a textbook cage stall by the High Elves that's really playing out in their favor. Sure, they're losing pieces, and you can't control that. That's just really on the dice, but for the things that you can control as the High Elf coach is the number of blocks that the enemy team gets against you. And dodging out like this, I think, yeah, that's definitely a reroll. You've got too many pieces marked. You gotta do that. Ooh, unfortunately, that block goes nowhere. You still have your blitz, though. You can blitz that orc, or you can try and blitz this other one. You know, if you were going to blitz this one, I would have rather you used the blitzer, but that's fine. Gets the knockdown. And again, we're in great position on the High Elf team. Another black orc blitz. Gets the POW. This could be big. And it is. Another knockout, this time on the Blodge piece. The Blodge has been doing a lot for the High Elves, keeping them on their feet, and that POW now has them only with one piece that can really take punches reliably. However, the Orcs are getting a little antsy on turn 5 here. You can tell they've now marked a corner of the cage with the Troll. Yeah, he's strength 5, so it's going to be hard for them to get a 2-die block onto this Troll, but they've got marked pieces, and if the Elves get a little bit of luck, they can actually get to the ball next turn. And so the Orcs are doing what they're supposed to do with their cage, applying pressure, forcing the Elves to roll dice, and dice they shall roll. Good, get the Blodge piece in position there. Yep, he puts the catcher behind the Blodge. That's smart. Yeah, you're going to give him 2 spaces here, but ooh, I don't like this. This row right here should be spaced 2 spaces apart from this one here. If they were lined up right here instead, and this thrower was stuck there because of the block there, but this one could have been positioned here. Because now they're going to get bunched together very easily. So yeah, I don't like that as much. But this is still cutting off this half of the field, but I just... Oh, okay. There's a failed block. Into a push with the reroll. One reroll left each team. And yep, there we go. So now they're all bunched together. This troll's going to come in here and mark all 4 elves. And he does. But where's the ball going? Ooh, no, that's not good at all. Okay, so out of desperation here, this orc coach, seeing that there's only 3 turns left on the clock, he knows he needs to punch a way through. But you don't need to put your ball carrier in this much danger to do it. I think if he keeps his ball carrier back here and uses these 4 orcs to surround him, he's still got all these orcs up here involved in applying pressure. But whenever you're in the cage and you put your cage up against standing opponents, they're going to be able to push their way in and get right up on your ball carrier. And yeah, this is very dangerous from the orc coach. We'll see what the elves do in response to this greedy play. Oh no, that's even worse. Okay, so he gets the knockdown on this elf here, but look at, he's positioned right next to the ball carrier. And these orcs are all marked, and they don't have guard. All 3 of the orcs here that are touching the downed lineman are being marked by another elf. And the orcs have no one left to move. So this elf is going to get a 1-die block, which you're going to take all day long on the ball carrier. And sure enough, it's into a chain push too, so they're going to get more blocks here. Even though that one was a push, he didn't need to re-roll it. Now, ooh, okay. Oh, that's bad. So he used the catcher here to try and remove the troll because the troll has guard, and that would have given him a 2-die block onto the ball carrier. But because he used the piece that didn't have block, he was forced into a bad situation there. 1 and 9's the block. Oh, that's brutal. The orcs immediately turn it over right back. So a series of turnovers there. That turnover probably cost the orc this drive. That was his turn 7. He did not move his ball carrier up at all. I think technically he's still in range of scoring here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a GFI. So yeah, he can still score as long as he keeps the ball, but honestly, I don't see him keeping the ball here. We'll see how it plays out. There's the 1-die again onto the troll. He does get the knockdown. Here's going to be the 2-die blitz onto the ball carrier. Gets the knockdown. Ball's out. Into the hands of an elf, and that is definitely going to be a scoreless half for the orcs. All because of that cage getting too aggressive. Really a perfect defense by the Highelves. I mean, as much as of a mistake it was for the orcs, I would say it's doubly a well-played half by the elves. And they've lost a ton of pieces. 4 knockouts and 1 injury is really a rough half for any team. But these elves were able to mount an awesome defense to keep the orcs from scoring. And they don't need all these pieces to score themselves, so they can score very quickly next turn, or next half. And get on the board. The only issue is generally you would want to stall on the elf team to prevent the orcs from scoring in response. So, and if none of these pieces come back, it's going to be very hard for the elves to stall out without the orcs just taking complete control of the pitch. Not a lot the elves can do here. They do get a 2-die block onto this blitzer. Just a push. Vanity pass. And 3 tackle zones, which fails. And that's going to be the end of the half. If you're the orc coach, you know, I would want you to take those hits on the kickoff. I think you played too conservative to start and too aggressive to end, and you were kind of forced into moving your cage up like you did just by really good defense. There's not a lot I could say wrong about what the elf coach did at all, frankly. I really liked the way that he set up this cage, except for near the end of the half there where he bunched together his lines a little bit too much, and that allowed the orcs to kind of get into that position. But because of the way the dice played out, it actually worked out into your favor because he turned over. But had that orc not turned over on the block there, they would have been able to score because of the spacing there. It's probably the only criticism or feedback I could give the High Elf coach. And after the half, only one of the knocked out High Elves returned. So this is going to be a situation where the High Elves aren't going to be able to stall very much. The standard High Elf offense is to drop back with your thrower, basically doing the quarterback job, pick up the ball, run backwards, wait for the orcs to get pressure. Once the orcs get about the halfway mark here, onto your half, so I guess three-quarters mark, then you're going to see the High Elf run up, make a pass, maybe a handoff, and then get down the field really fast. That's the standard offense. Now, when you're short this many players, you kind of are forced into scoring really fast. You don't want to have, them surround your downfield threats. So we may see a two-turn score here. And then the advantage with scoring quickly as the High Elves is you're going to get another chance to get these players back. Because if you can get all three of these guys back after a two-turn score, you're right back where you started last half, only down one piece, and you've already proven that you can stop these orcs. So what's to say that you couldn't stop them a second time? Throw a rock onto the thrower. That's a big deal. That's a knockout. That's rough. Oh, he appos it. Okay, that's actually pretty smart. Losing that thrower there would have been really tough. And so we see, yes, the High Elves are going to be going for that two-turn score, running deep here. Screening off, it looks like, for this catcher, would be my guess, unless he wants to use the catcher to pick up the ball. Yeah. Catcher's going to be in a nice cage here, and then they'll throw the ball into the cage. Maybe not this turn. I think that would be a little bit too aggressive, especially since, yeah, the lineman there is perfectly safe. Failed dodge, no big deal. I think it's 2 GFIs for the Black Orc to get there, and he might not even be able to hit the ball carrier. Yep. 2 GFIs, and he doesn't even get to hit him, so do your safe moves first. Go ahead and mark up what you can. I would definitely throw my blitz at one of these corners here. Maybe even this one back here, since he doesn't have blodge. These two with blodge are going to be very tough to take down. So I'd probably, yeah, blitz this one, and then you're marking the catcher there. That troll, really stupid. Three die block. That is a very greedy reroll. I don't think I would have done that. The push is fine. It's a blodge piece. Sure, you want to knock him out, but yeah, I with only 2 rerolls on your team, I think I would have saved that for something that's going to impact the game. Like that, even. I mean, being able to mark the ball would have been huge. Ooh. Okay. -1 movement, appoed into a miss next game, onto a Black Orc. That may be something that impacts the Orc team next match. You really want to have the strength 4 of the Orcs, those Black Orcs, to really muscle your way around the pitch. So losing one of those is potentially a big deal. Injury followed by a knockout. The High Elves are actually evening out these numbers here. If that knockout does not come back after this touchdown, and there's the pass. Failed and re-rolled. Successful catch. And there's the touchdown. So if this Orc doesn't come back, there's actually going to be potential for the Highelves to be equal with the Orcs in numbers here. And that would be great for their defense. Skip the cheerleaders. Let's see what the KO rolls are. Ooh, only one. Okay. Not great for the Highelves, but at least they got something out of it. And he is still knocked out, so this Orc drive is going to be a little bit tougher for them than the first one. Again, please, Orc coach, body up these linemen. Knock them over. And his formation has changed from the first half. Instead of it being so widespread, it's now a little bit more concentrated. Again, the Orcs are going to be able to move up a bit more. There we go. Now we're marking all of them. I don't see why you wouldn't want that black Orc next to there, but in case the troll goes stupid again, it's already done it a number of times. Both teams get an extra reroll. That probably favors the Orcs. They've been a little bit more aggressive with their rerolls. There's a POW. Into a stun. Why would we blitz? I don't like this blitz at all because the troll already had a chance to hit him. I do like the injury though, that's great. Extra SPP for that black Orc is always going to be appreciated. And he's already got blocked, so this black Orc now is an MVP away from having the second skill, and that's huge. Getting levels on the black Orcs is so important. It's one of those things where I wish I could go back in time and, you know what I know now and have those black Orcs of mine leveling quicker. I definitely focused on that now, but in some cases it's almost too little too late. And you can see the Orc coach is actually adapting really well to the mistakes that they made the first half. Instead of having all these Orcs go backwards and go to the ball, he's going to screen here, so the Elves are going to have a really tough time getting past these Orcs to get to the ball carrier. Ooh, that was greedy. Yeah, you have to reroll this. Okay, and he does. The GFI there was to allow him to get to the cage quicker, but I really felt that was unnecessary. The Elves do have, I guess, somewhat of a way in there. They get the knockdown here. If they wanted to, they could attempt some bad dodges to try and get through and mark the ball carrier while he's out of the cage. If this was a Skaven team, I would expect that kind of a play. That's really the Skaven style, is to get back there before the cage gets formed and play on the opponent's side of the half. As Highelves, though, the screen and the stalling is a bit more of what their style is. And the Orcs, again, seem to have really adapted from the first half, being very aggressive with these marks, making the Elves roll dice and dodge while still protecting the ball. You know, you can get away with a looser cage here. Ooh, I like this a lot. Not only are you marking here, but you're also securing a sideline path, where if the Highelves want to try and defend this area, they're going to have to kind of overcommit, which is going to leave you a chance to cut back across the middle. So that was I like this position a lot. Make sure to get this lineman more involved. He's a bit of a safety right now, but really a no-skill lineman. He's not a great safety. Blitz into the cage. What is this dodge? I don't like that dodge at all. He gets it, so he's got the blodge piece now as the one that's going to get hit, but I just don't like it because this is going to be really easy to remove. Because of this guy's here, all that you have to do is get a piece right here, and then it's just one push to get him off, and then you've got a chance at a second push or a blitz, and now your ball carrier's free. So there'll be a little bit of a chain push here, most likely. Yep, here comes the troll. He's now marking 4 elves, which is great, and he's blogging that hole. Catcher's been removed. I might have actually pushed the catcher the other way to get him out of the path, but it's not a big deal either way. He's using his Black Orc here to cut off the side. Ooh, I love this. These elves are really boxed in here. Give me the blitz here. Yep, there's the blitz. 3 die. Onto the blodger, gets the POW. Let's see where this goes. Armor breaks, but only a stun. But that should be enough, honestly. By the time he's up and involved in the play again, it's going to be, you know, the ball's going to be relatively downfield at that point. Another POW. The Orcs are not rolling bad by any means. I think that the only reason they didn't... Ooh, I don't like that at all. Yeah, there you go. Keep him off. There's no way to get to him, so there's no reason for you to be that close. Get this elf involved. Come on. What? Oh no. So before you roll that dice on that dodge, which was a 3+ dodge anyway, move the lineman. Get him in at least somewhere over here. And with that turnover, I think that this is going to be a pretty safe and easy touchdown for the Orcs. Time is starting to run low. So if I was the High Elf coach here, I would be trying to force him to score faster, which would give me a chance to get a 2-1 victory. But all these elves bunched up in this area here are really going to have a hard time getting to the ball. Really stupid. Is it the 4th time this turn, or this game? Another stun. It's 2 catchers now that are going to be really out of the game. Or at least out of this drive. A blodger on the ground. And this one is the movement busted one. So really there's nothing you can do to take this ball away from Pulsepock. They do go ahead and get the knockdown here on the blitzer. But that doesn't really threaten the ball at all. Here's the blitz. Looking for that chain push. They do get it, but nothing's going to come of it. See where he puts the thrower. Right on the end zone. I don't like that. I would have put him 1 square back. Because your cage is going to be against the line, and potentially they can push you in for a touchdown. Ooh, that's even worse. You just gave him a chain push to push you in for a touchdown. If you're the Orc coach, this is the High Elves half, so you have the chance to score on turn 16, have no chance of a 1 or 2 turn, and really secure the win. So they're going to use their 15th turn possibly to knock you in for a touchdown, and that's going to allow them a 1 turn. I don't like this at all. There was a way for you to secure the tie if you were the Orc team. You're giving the Elves the chance to win this. So, and this Orc coach has shown a lot of smarts. I'm sure he's going to have at least the chance at a 1 turn, especially if this plus movement catcher comes back in, movement 9. That piece has a great chance at 1 turning. There's the POW for the chain push, just like I thought. Yep. And there's the touchdown. So that touchdown is going to eat the Orc turn 15. And we're going to get the ball turn 16 in the High Elves' hands for a 1 turn attempt. Let's see how it plays out. So 2 injured High Elves. Knockouts. Which one? Oh, no, not the one we wanted, but that extra High Elf on the pitch is going to help with the 1 turn just for pushes. You will need at least, what, 3 pushes? 4 pushes onto the ball. So we'll see if the Orc coach is anticipating the 1 turn and how they defend it. Right now, they're More set up for a riot than they are a one-turn. They do have a lot of strength on the line. I probably would have put another black orc here. Really, this is not a good one-turn defense. You either want to have all of them across the third back line here, keeping them safe, or you're going to want to have, you know, some kind of a protective wall here to make it harder for the chain pushes. Short kick. Touchback. That really actually helps the one turn here. One less thing that you have to worry about rolling for. Here's the blitz. What is that? A red... Wow, a red die blitz. Gets the push, though. That's good. That's the first step. That's really the hardest step, then, in this whole chain of events. Goes ahead and dodges into the right spot here. Beautiful. So, with them using the black orc instead of switching sides on this, we're going to be seeing one dice. Another push. No rerolls left. Or the reroll's been used, so they can't use it again. Good dodge in the position, yes. Another push. I think that might have been the last one he needed. Yes, it was. There he goes. No! Oh, no! Oh, man. I feel for Hipster. Oh, man. That was so beautifully done. He did everything right. He had a great defense. He had a perfect two-turn score. He did the one turn, executed beautifully, and the dice just tripwire him right in the end zone. There's nothing you can do about that. That is just brutal. Gut-wrenching. The Orcs are, of course, going to just pound away at these elves, trying to get a little bit more SPP out of this, but, you know, the scoreboard does not reflect the efforts here. I would say that the High Elf team was robbed of a victory. Wow. And that's not to say that the Orc coach played poorly. I'd say the Orc coach, Rusty Seabutter, really adapted in the second half of the game to what the High Elves were doing. And that's what really allowed them to score. That and the injury dice. The injury dice was also something that went really well into the Orc team's favor. But whew, to have it just blown at the end zone line on one GFI, that hurts. That hurts a lot. One armor break for the High Elves, and they didn't need anything more. They honestly could have won it with just the one armor break. 12 for the Orcs. They did complete a pass. SPP wise, looks like we are going to have maybe a level or two for the Orcs. And really light for the High Elves in general. 24 to 38 blocks. That's 38 is about average for a team going against elves. Anything higher than that means that the elves are probably basing a little bit too much. But man, look at that ball possession. They only held the ball 12% of the time at the end of turns, compared to the 75% for the Orcs. And it just really felt like a dominating performance by the High Elves, even though the scoreboard didn't reflect that. That's really too bad that the High Elves just weren't rewarded for their good play. Overall, though, I definitely left this match with a good respect for Hipster and the way that he played. And I would say that he's probably moved up a notch in my mind as where he would rank overall. His team's getting a little battered, but at the same time, just the caliber of play out of him this match was really impressive for me. So let's see where they stand at this moment at the end of week 2. The High Elves are actually in second place, so that is not surprising to me, with 1 win and 1 draw, and that draw really could have been a win, so they would have been up at the top here. Skinky Island Boys, we haven't seen them yet, but that's a Lizard coach, with 2 wins, looking dominating, and then the Dark Elves with Phaedrus, who we might be checking in with next week. We'll see. The other coach that we just watched was the Secret of My Success. He's 2 draws, so he has not lost yet. As an Orc team, you want to try and get those early wins when you have that skill advantage, but that's not to say that 2 draws is a bad start either. He's getting good experience and levels. His season is not over yet by any means. He could still certainly make a playoff run here from where he's at. And the teams that we watched last week, Moniker 1-1 with a draw and a loss, so his season's already looking up. And the Chaos team looks like they lost their second match, so plenty of teams and action still ahead. We're going to go ahead and end it here, folks. Thanks for watching. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you probably tomorrow with Division 4's match. Thank you. Good night.